Rob Bradford from Odyssey's Baseball Isn't Boring podcast. He joined us during the World Series. It was great. And, Rob, it is great to see you again. How you doing, brother?
It's so good to see you guys. And also, history is being made. I don't think in the history of baseball there's been a pitcher pitching with the same last name of somebody in the broadcast booth. Yes. I actually found out last year during World Series Media Day that I was related to Cody Bradford.
Okay.
And, so it was real-time astonishment because, we both had a lot of street cred for the Pilgrims, the Governor William Bradford. Yeah, so it's good that the timing works out perfect. And like I said, it's great to see you guys.
So were you guys, chatting and being like, hey, who's your grandma? And then
it was weird because we were talking about, do you get fan mail for Chad Bradford? And the other thing was, hey, like I said, in Thanksgiving, first grader, Governor William Bradford, this is all kinds of street cred. Did you get the same thing? and he said, yeah, because I am related. I'm like, well, then I guess we're related. So, okay. It was great.
Right on. So is this like the epicenter of baseball excitement today here, with the Rangers and Dodgers? It's very exciting for us.
The Dodgers are, you have the World Series champs. You have the Dodgers, which everyone thinks are going to be the World Series champs. And I was over at the Dodgers clubhouse yesterday. It's just a wild scene. It just is. You had Ohtani yesterday. You have Yamamoto today. And I covered the Red Sox back when Daisuke Matsuzaka came to the Red Sox in 2007. And I don't know if you'll ever see anything like that because there were less Japanese players. It wasn't quite – everything was new about it, but it was the same idea where you're building new rooms and press boxes and you're making tents for the overflow. And today they're not allowing the photographers behind home plate for the first time. Like all this stuff because of these players. But, yeah, this is a great game to be at right now.
So what do you think of these Dodgers? Should they be the prohibitive favorite that people are talking about them like that?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. But here's the thing that we've seen for the last couple postseasons that because of the way it sets up, because of the potential time off you have, the division winners don't always win. And that must set fear into the hearts of them a little bit. I enjoy the ride while you can. Why not? But still, that when you have the Diamondbacks do what they did, what the Rangers do what they did, there is no certainties at all, but I'll say this, is that holy mackerel, how fun it is to be a Dodgers fan. It's just like with the Rangers fan, with Simeon and Seager and Eovaldi and all those guys. It's fun to get good players. So let's enjoy it.
Well, let me ask you this then. Is it good for baseball? Is it good for the fan base in other cities that the Dodgers and the Dodgers, give them credit. They know how to draft, they know how to develop, but they know how to sign players. As a guy who's a historian, covers the game for a living, lifer type guy, what do you think about this?
I think it's two different things. It's number one, it can be good for baseball in the sense of you have those teams, you have the Dodgers, but you also have the examples of the gritty gutty Cincinnati Reds or the Diamondbacks, whoever recently actually doing well. Yeah. Now the problem is that the Dodgers' way of doing things is few and far between when it comes to these front offices.
Right.
The front offices are looking at it and said, oh, I see how the Rays are doing it. I see how the Marlins are doing it. I see how these teams are doing. We can do it that way too. And that's the dangerous part. And that's obviously the unappetizing part about we're sitting here with all these free agents sitting there because I think that a lot of these teams are saying, well, if we get the guy with a good spin rate with a 5 ERA, we'll be able to change him. And we won't have to allocate the 4-year contract. That's the dangerous part about this.
It's Rob Bradford of Odyssey's Baseball Isn't Boring podcast. So what do you think of these Rangers? Are we in that group of teams now that's spending big and making the right decisions?
Yeah, well, I think that the thing is with the Rangers is that we can hang our hat on, if we want good players, if we want the teams to allocate money and do what fans want you to do, which is go all in with the shock and awe offseason, the Rangers were a perfect example of that because what happened with them were the key players, the guys that they spent money on were the guys who allowed the younger players to come up. So that is I think that you can't ignore that. You can't ignore getting Corey Seager and paying the money for those guys. So, yeah, I like what the Rangers are doing. I think that everyone's sort of fascinated about the Jordan Montgomery thing right now.
Okay, now you're a Boston guy.
Yeah.
You cover the Red Sox. Where do the Red Sox sit, you feel like, on the Montgomery thing?
I think they're waiting to see how far his price is going to come down.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to somebody about a month ago asking about the Rangers, and they said, we haven't talked to them about Montgomery in weeks.
Yeah.
And because Boris was asking for #1 starter type of money, and he's not a #1 starter. So I think that everyone views it that way, including the Red Sox, but how long they're willing to wait, I don't know. All it takes is one team. I mean, let's ask Scott Boras. All it takes is one team, and things can change. It's just what that one team is going to be.
Rob, one of the things I've noticed being out here, and you're a baseball traditionalist like me, you're a historian, and it seems like these guys, I don't know if
I've never felt better about my history of baseball than being here right now.
I just don't know if these guys want it as bad as they used to, man. It seems like they used to be by any means necessary. Jorge Posada, strengthening his hands via urine, his own urine, perhaps at times his teammates' urine. That's the type of bonds they shared. I go in the clubhouse. None of these guys are going the extra mile that way.
There is definitely a lack of urine hand wringing. This is a question about it. Yeah.
You seem as disappointed about it as I do.
I do. I mean, but I see what you're saying.
Rob, don't let him do that to you.
Where's the desire?
No.
You are a professional.
Listen, I don't have.
You are a big-time baseball guy. Don't let him do that.
He's not wrong. This is a thing for blisters, right? This is if.
You walked right into it.
Hey, we're going to have a guy early on in the season who's going to go on the 15-day DL because he's got a little blisty blist,
exactly.
And it's because he wasn't willing to go the extra mile, and his teammates probably weren't willing to help him out either.
Exactly.
That's disappointing.
Exactly, and they told him to do something that didn't work, much like, here, use these 50 machines that don't work. So it's, I think that the dangerous thing is, they want it, but there's so much information, they don't know how to use the information. Like, that's very simple. Put the stuff in the cup and put your hand in the cup.
Yeah.
That's it, right? I mean, that's it. It's all right. Well, what should you do? This is all in the information. What information should we take? And I've heard all kinds of things. I heard the Dodgers just bombard you with information.
Yeah.
I've heard other teams just say, here it is. If you want to come get it, that's fine. But yeah, it's just you're right. I mean, it is not like it used to be. Certainly.
The final question I have for you: the Rangers have some pitchers coming back from the Tommy John and stuff like that. How do you evaluate a team that's got players that are coming back? Big time pieces.
You don't count on them. I don't think you count on them. I think it's anything you get is gravy to a certain degree. Now, like in other words, if you have DeGrom or someone like that, fine. But you better have the Eovaldi going well. You just can't count on guys because they'll come back and they'll be okay. But to think that they're going to be locked solid, no doubt about it, you just can't do that. And it comes back to paying money for guys. It comes back to getting the guys some sort of certainty. And the Dodgers, I don't know if you know this, $700 million is a lot of certainty. And if you can get that guy, you know what he's going to do. He just showed it yesterday.
Baseball isn't boring with Rob Bradford. As Jonah Heim sends a charge into left center, it's going to be corralled there short of the warning track. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Oh, yeah, man.
Enjoy spring training.
And let me give you a story for when my co-author Joe Kelly comes in. He had Yamamoto and Ohtani over the house the other day. Yeah. And I don't know anything about whiskey, but their gift was a Japanese whiskey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
kind of guys you need to roll with.
I mean, talking about his wife gets a Porsche from Ohtani and he gets Japanese whiskey from Yamamoto. Wow. So there you go. You're living right.
Classy guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob. Live it up yourself.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you.